Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for GuitarLessons365.com. I have a fantastic song from one of my favorite bands today. We're going to learn how to do Jet City Woman by the great Queensryche. This one has got so many cool parts, just great little leads by Chris Degarmo, and great rhythm work that really works well with it. Some of it kind of intricate by Michael Wilton. So just some great writing, great vocals. So if you're actually not even familiar with this song, if it's before your time, check it out. Check out the whole album, Empire. It's an amazing album. Check out multiple albums, you know, Operation Mindcrime, Promised Land, everything. It's just some great stuff. So let's jump into it. Before I get into it though, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and ring the notification bell so you'll know when I release a new video. And please check out my Guitar Academy. You'll see the link in the description below, and that link below will give you a free 7-day trial to my academy. You can check out all my guitar courses covering everything from like a complete beginner course to more advanced courses and improvisation and technique and ear training, theory, guitar tone, you name it. So go, please check it out. I'd love to see you there. All right, so we're in standard tuning here for this one. And like I said before, there's a lot of guitar things to cover here. We're going to go through the whole track, both Michael Wilton's and Chris Degarmo's parts here. So Chris Degarmo opens it. We have the bass kind of doing its thing underneath it. And Chris Degarmo opens it with this really cool solo that I just played in the intro. So I'm going to do that first since that solo starts before there's any rhythm guitar work. Then halfway through that, you'll hear the band kick in. And there's some rhythm guitar there by Michael Wilton, and I'll play that. I'll teach you that next. So let's start with that solo that I did first. So that first phrase is this. All right, so what we're doing here is we're going to start with hitting a harmonic at the 12th fret there on the B string. And then the 7th fret there on the B. Or if you don't play like that. So it's just harmonics. And then it's kind of a steady rhythm there going with the little vibrato bar, quick little, tiny little bar dives. And then we have more harmonics, and these are a little bit trickier. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick the harmonic at the 12th fret on the high E, and then the 12th fret on the B, but you can't let them ring together like that. They need to be a melody. So what you do here is you pick the top one, and then when you pick the B, you see I'll take my middle finger and I'll mute that high E string. That's how I keep them separate and not ringing, not sound like that. So we have this. All right, now grab the 11th fret there on the B string, and you're going to kind of slow half-step bend and release there. And then down to this 9th fret. All right, now from there, we do this. All right, so that's come down to the 7th fret on the B. Pick it, slide it into the 9. And then now down at the 4th fret. So you pick the 4th fret on the B and then pick it again with a slow half-step bend. Then at the 2nd fret, bend it and then pick it without the bend, and then we have this harmonic, which is at the 4th fret there on the B string. And you just do a long bar dive there. So we have this. All right, now here's where the band kicks in, but we're going to continue with Chris Degarmo's solo here, and we have some unison bends. All right, so that's 4th fret there on the high E, and then the 7th fret there on the B string. And what you're going to do is pick both of those strings and bend up the note on the B string to match the one here. Now it's a little bit tricky if you have a floating trim system like this guitar. So when you bend up one note, the other one needs to be kind of altered a touch because it gets pulled out of tune. See, I slightly pull that up just to kind of make up for it. So, and then same thing, 2 frets higher, and then at the 7th fret. So we have this. Now we're going to do some more back at the 4th fret, back to 6, but now we're going to jump up here to 9. So I'm calling out the note that the index finger's at. So we have 4, 6, 7, then 4, 6, 9. All right, then we have this. So that's a bend at the 14th fret there on the B string. And then grab the 14 on the high E as you're up. And then pick the 14 on B, release. Pull off to 12, and then back to 14. All right, and then we're gonna do this. We have this, pick 12, hammer on 14, pull back off to 12. Slide down to 11, and then you can pick 11 again, and then you're gonna play, pull off 12 to 11 on the B, over to 11 on the G. And then the end is this. So that's a bend at this 14th fret on the high E, and then release. Just pick that 14 without the bend, and then little sequence there. So we have 12, 14 on high E, then 11, 12, and then 14 on the B, 11 on the high E, and end it there at the 12th fret on the B. All right, so when those unison bends started, we had this rhythm section that comes in. It sounds like this. All right, so that's gonna start with kind of sliding into the 4th fret there on the D and the G together. And then you're gonna play this power chord, and you're gonna have to probably use different fingerings than usual. That's the 5th fret on the A, 7th fret on the D. That's D power chord. And then, so you'll see do that little lick a lot. And then you go to this power chord with the 4th fret of the low E. Down to the 2nd, then again. Now this one goes 4 to the open power chord. So we have this so far. So back to this, and then. So the second group of chords after this is the 4th fret on the low E power chord, and then over the 4th fret off the A string. And then back to that little lick again, and then the ending is the 4th group of chords, 4th fret power chord at the low E, and the open E. So all together, 4, 2, 4, All right, now we have this clean section, so I'm going to switch to a setting with some nice chorus on it, a little delay, reverb, very cool. All right, so this one is kind of tricky to hear, and there's this thing they do at the very beginning, how they play it, that I think a lot of people might miss. So I'm going to play through it real quick, and then we'll go through it note for note. All right, so that's the verse, just an amazing section of the song. So what is unique about this is there's some interesting chord forms, but just kind of how they perform it is slightly different the very first time. So the first time you hear it coming in, this, so it's the second chord which changes here. So just to start out here, we have the 4th fret on the low E, 6th fret on the D, then 4th fret on the G, and then the open B. So those notes are doubled there. So we have this. So that chorus effect is what makes those two notes kind of sound odd together, even though they're the same note. It's the chorus effect. And the fact that they, the timbre is a little different. So we have that at first. So I'm just going to pick across those 4 strings twice. Now here's where we have something that's a little bit different. The first time you play this second chord, you're going to come down here to the 2nd fret on the low E, the 4th fret on the D string, and here's the note. 4th fret on the G string the first time you play it. Then the open B. Most people go ahead and play the 3rd fret there. That is correct every other time you play it in the verse. But for the first time, they don't want to give it all away at the beginning. So it sounds like this. Same picking pattern. It's just now 2 on the low E, 4 on the D, 4 on the G, and then the open B again. So we have this. All right, so do that the first time instead of, don't do that yet. And then we have this really cool chord. So that's the 4th fret there on the low E, 3rd fret on the D, 4th fret on the B, and then the open B again. Same picking pattern. But you're always there. Now this last chord in the progression here, this first time through it at least, open E, 2nd fret there on the D string, 4th fret on the B, open B, and then the second time of picking through it, you're going to do this. Hit the E, the D string, and then the G, and then just take the note down to the 3rd fret. So we have this so far. All right, now we go back to those same chords again, but we're gonna kind of change it up. Same opening chord. Now the second chord, when we get there, now we've moved that note on the G string down to the 3rd fret. So it's still 2 on the low E and 4 on the D, but now 3rd fret there on the G string and the open B. So. Now move over to the B chord. So we're going to play 2nd fret on the A, 4th fret on the D and the G, and then the open B. And then we're gonna go to a C sharp sus2 chord. So that's a bar at the 4th fret here, and the 6th fret on the A and the on the D string and the G string. Now, when you're picking across this, the picking is not as there's no real pattern to it. So you're just kind of picking across those strings. You can kind of stay. I like to kind of go up to the B string and come back down. Kinda. So we have this all together for the 2nd time through the chord progression. All right, now when we go kind of start over the progression, but we don't go back to that, we continue doing that little alteration on the 2nd chord. So we have that 3rd fret there on the G. Now, the 4th time through the progression, we have this little ending. All right, so that's that same opening chord. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the 6th fret on the low E, still the same picking pattern, but the 6th fret on the low E, 4th fret on the D, 6th fret on the G, open B. So pick across that a couple times, and now what you're gonna do now is move the note up on the low E string. You can do that like that, or I kind of like just moving my ring finger up to the 7th fret there on the low E. Still got the 4th fret on the D, but you're going to replace that note you just left on the 6th fret on the G string there. So the open B. So we have this. And end it once again with that C sharp sus2 chord. All right, so then we're back with the pre-chorus. The band kicks in, full band kicks in here. And once again, we have 2 parts to the chorus, the Michael Wilton's part and Chris Degarmo. Chris Degarmo's playing some octaves up the fretboard. Michael Wilton's doing this. E power chord, just gonna kind of chug on it. And then jump up here to the 4th fret. That's kind of a palm muted here. And back to E. And then the F sharp there to end it there. All right, Chris Degarmo's part moves around a little bit more. It looks like this. All right, so that's, you hit the octave, the low E string in there at the beginning, but you really, Michael Wilton's taking care of that. You just hit the octaves. It's the 2nd fret on the A, 4th fret of the G. So make sure you're muting that D string. And then slide it up to 6. So that's the 6th fret there on the index finger. You still got the same shape going though, the octave shape. Then up to 7, and to 9. And then a higher voicing of this power chord. Instead of doing this, he's doing it here at the 6th fret on the A string. I'm sorry, it's an A flat note. I keep calling it A string. 6th fret on the D, 8th fret on the G, and the 9th fret there on the B string. So I'm doing that little dun 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 on the D string, then I'm picking the chord. So like this. Then back to the octaves. Now here you a little bit extended ending here. Slide it up to 11, and then back to the 9. And then we have our first little harmony lick. This one's the most involved one that you get at the very beginning. And there's a couple different ways of playing this, but we have the lower harmony part. However you want to break this up with your buddies playing guitar with you. We have this, which is just 13, 11, 13 on the G, and then into that bend at the 14th fret on the B string. And then the high harmony part with it is this. You can do that here, wherever you want to do those first two notes, but it's like 16, 15, 16 on the G, and then over to 16, the bend there on the high E string. And that takes us into the chorus. Now the chorus has kind of like a, I guess, a rhythm guitar part and then a lead part. Now this lead part in the chorus is played with a slide, obviously in the studio. You could even see him in the little glimpses of him playing, like on the official video, like he's actually playing a slide part there, but then you'll see him playing it without the slide. So I'm assuming that most of you guys are just gonna play without the slide. It's kind of a pain to just jump onto it, have a slide there. It sounds great without it. I think that's probably how he did it live anyway, without the slide. So let's do the rhythm part first, Michael Wilton's part. So it looks like this. All right, so that's going to be here at the 4th fret there, this A flat power chord. So that's 4th fret on the low E, 6th fret there on the A. So we play those two together, and then pick up the 6th fret, so it's just a 4th fret across the A and the low E. So you can go back and forth between the two there. Jet skiing. So we have that the kind of same figures done in the 4th and then the 2nd. By the way, I wasn't citing the band by calling it Jet Skiing Woman. I saw their sound check, and that's what Jeff Tate was singing at the away. In their sound check, he's calling it Jet Skiing Woman. So I thought that was hilarious. So we have this. So we have that. At the 2nd fret there, same thing. And then the same rhythm pattern, but we have 4th fret there on the, 2nd fret on the A, 4th fret on the D. So that's the first chord. And then you're gonna rotate that between that and the tritone, which is gonna be the 3rd fret on the D string. Still with that 2nd fret. So the same rhythm there. And then you come up here and grab this C sharp power chord, the 4th fret on the A, 6th fret there on the D. And then from there, we're gonna play the 4th on the D and the A together. And then move that note on the D string down to 3. And then pick that again, and then back to the 4s. All together. Repeat. And then the kind of the bass comes in. All right, so now what's going on in the with Chris Degarmo's part there? So what's this that this is done on slide, but sounds great without it. So the first chorus is a little bit shorter. So we have this all in the G string. That's just between 4 and 3 there. You can keep sliding into it. Kind of just between 4 and 3. And then up to 6 and 4. And then move up to 8, 6, 4, then back to 6. So. Repeat. And then here he's kind of really low in the mix. But he goes up the G string. I'm sorry. Or just go kind of 6, 8, 11, and then up to the 13th fret and let that ring. All right, so the later chorus, you just kind of extend this around. I'll talk about it a little bit when we get there, but it's pretty much the same thing. So the transition part before we get back to the verse, after this first chorus, like I said, it's just the arrangement of this song. It's just brilliant. So we're doing the chord progression like with the verse, kind of arpeggiated picking there. And then we have Chris Degarmo doing another solo there. Quick little one, looks like this. By the way, if you like I said, if you've not heard Queensryche, please, if you like dual guitar stuff, there's like the ultimate band for that. They're so good. Chris Degarmo especially is such an amazing writer, and he'll do these little solos like this that are just absolute perfection. I mean, he's so good. I mean, he's got so many cool solos like this that are just not the most intricate and crazy things, even though he's got some crazy stuff too. But they're just so musical, so melodic. So we have this, the same with the same 2 harmonics. We're going to start with the 12th fret on the B, and then the 7th fret. More little rhythmic bar dives, and then now instead of going 12, 12, we're going to go 5, 5, 5 on the high E, and then over the 5 on the B string. Remember, you got to mute that high E just like before, and then all the way up here at the 18th fret, just kind of a bend and release, half step bend and release. So. Resolve that down at the 16th fret on the high E string there. All right, so then we get through the same verse. So now we're starting to repeat sections of the song finally, because it's a pretty intricate song. So back to the same verse, same pre-chorus, and then there's another little harmony thing real quick, but it's kind of abbreviated. It's just kind of like, so instead of in this one, you can kind of do them together. So it's just basically the very beginning of that harmony like we did before, but just without that the little bend there. And so it does sound a little bit different though. And then we get to the chorus here again, which, like I said, it's got the same thing going on with Michael Wilton. And then we have this little kind of extended. So I just kind of made my way up the scale to the 13th fret, and then you repeat the thing again. So it's just kind of an extended version of the chorus, but those things you kind of just anything kind of works there. It sounds really cool. All right, so then after that extended solo, we have a little clean section that leads us into the solo. So the clean section here is basically the very end of the verse. Then goes into the solo. So it's just those very last chords of the very last arpeggio patterns of the verse. So nothing new to learn there. And then what I'm going to do now is just show you the rhythm part underneath the solo. So it sounds like this. All right, so kind of an interesting ending there. That ending there, I think I'm probably combining a couple of different rhythm parts together there, those last chords, but it might be exactly what he does. But so let's just take a look at it. It starts with that same. That riff that we had at the beginning of the track over the intro solo. So you play through that full riff one time, and then we're back, kind of act like you're starting over, but you just do the first half. So here's where it changes. We quickly grab the F sharp there, power chord off the low E string. And then we go over to the B power chord and do that figure, kind of rhythm figure that we did in the chorus. So those two off the B, and then the C sharp. That was in the chorus. And then here's the little ending. Kind of the E power chord, just kind of chugging on that. And then here we have. So this one gets a little bit interesting. So we have this going on. You can hear that, but you also hear this in it. So I'm just going to put them together. It might be played like this together. So that's the F on the low E string, 3rd fret on the D, 1st fret on the G, 2nd fret there on the B. And then move up to the F on the low E string, F sharp, I'm sorry. And then the F sharp here on the D string at the 4th fret, and then play the 2nd fret there on the B. So you got to mute that G string. And then we're back to the power chord there that kind of goes into the pre-chorus. So if you really want to, it just sounds better to put those chords in there. All right, now Chris Degarmo solo, very awesome solo here. So I'm going to go through this solo real quick, play through it real quick for you, and then I'll show you how to play it phrase by phrase. So here we go. All right, so really cool stuff there. So we're going to start here with an oblique bend. This is the first phrase here. So we have this, you got to hold the 7th fret there on the B, and then do a whole set bend on the G string at the 6th fret. Now then, you're going to pick this 6th fret there as it's bent up on the G string a few times with some pinch harmonics. And then release that bend and pick those two notes together again. And then move the note on the B string down to the 6th fret. So it's just 6 on the G and the B, that double stop together. Hit that a couple times. Then down to the 4th fret there on the B and the G. So with this. All right, from there we have this. So that right there, you're gonna pull off 6 to 4 on the D string, and then back to the D, the 6th fret there on the D, and then we have this. That little lick done twice, which is hammering 4 to 6. Turn that delay off. So we have this hammer 4 to 6 over to 4 on the G. And then, so that's a bend and release at the 6th fret on the G. Pull off to 4, back to that 6, and then now you're gonna pull off 6/4 again, resolve it to the 6 on the D string. All right, next phrase. All right, so that's. So slide into the 9th fret there on the B string. Then pick that again. Then up to 11. Back to the 9. Then a half step bend at the that 11th fret on the B string. Then pick 11 without the bend, and then shift up to the 12th fret. So. From here, we now have another unison bend at the 9th fret there, the high E, with that 12th fret there on the B string. A couple of them. And then you're going to pick that note on the B string, then release the bend, and then pull off to 9. Over to 11 on the G, back to that 9 on the B, and then slide into the 13 there on the G. So we have this. All right, from there we have this. So we have. That's going to be the 13th fret a couple times on the G string, and then hammer 11 to 13. Over to 11 a couple times on the B string, then pull off 12 to 11. Over to 13 on the G, back to that 11. All right, now another one of those oblique bends. You're going to be holding the 14th fret there on the B string by doing the bend at the 13th fret on the G. And then when you release that bend, you change the note on the B string down to the 12th fret there on the B. You hit it a couple times. And this kind of a quick hit on it again before you start the next phrase, which is. So that's some bends there at the 13th fret on the G. Release. Pull off to 11. Over to 12 on the B. And then back to that 13. So we have this. And then again. Now the third time through, you just do pull off. And then back to that 13 without going over the 12. So. Then we have this. So that's going bend at the 14th fret there on the B, and then grab that 14 on the high E, then pick the 14 again on the B, release, then release, pull off to 12, back to 14, and then we have this, which is just kind of 14 on the high E, the 14 on the B, pull off to 12, and then over to 13 there on the G. All right, now we get to the fancy stuff. So that's got some faster licks here, kind of some big stretches. And I'm going to play it the fingerings that he uses. Chris Degarmo's got really, really long fingers. So you might not be comfortable playing it with these exact fingerings, but I'm just kind of want to keep it authentic, but you might want to change what fingers play what notes. So we have this. All right, so how this thing is performed is you'll see this little intro lick that's played, and then it goes into a repeated lick that plays 4 times. And then we kind of do the same thing the second half of the solo, or the second half of this phrase or whatever. So the first one is this. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start with a slide into the 12th fret there on the B string, over to 9 on the high E string, and then you can pick or just hammer on the 14th fret on the high E, and then pull back off to that 9, back to the 12 there on the B. All right, so that's just kind of a little intro to it. You want to kind of think to this section. Now, from here, we're going to do the same lick repeated 4 times. And that is going to be, this is the fingerings that he uses too, so it's kind of a big stretch. So we have play 9, hammer on 11, pull back off to 9, over to 13 on the B, and then back to the 9th fret on the high E string. So that's the lick, and just repeat that 4 times. And then from there, we're going to go into this little simple descending repeated 3-note lick, which is just 13, 11, 9 on the high E. And then we jump up here. So this lick right here is kind of similar to the one down here. We started with this little intro lick, I just call it, just since it doesn't really match the repeated lick. And that's going to be, you play 14, hammer on 19, pull back off to 14, and then grab that 19 on the B string with your ring finger. And then we start the repeated lick, which is the same one as down here at the 9th fret, but up here at the 14. So it's going to be play 14, hammer on 16, pull back off to 14, and then play 18 on the B. So we have this, you notice the first one there, those were unison notes. But now when you're doing the repeated lick, end it there on the 14, and then we have this. So that's the bend of the 18th fret, half step bend, release, pull off to 16, and then the whole step bend of the 19. And then release, pull off to 16, and over to the 19th fret there, bend on the B string. All right, so some cool stuff there. All right, now we have the, which I kind of call the bridge, comes out of the solo. Michael Wilton's part is just this. All right, so he's just kind of chugging on the low E power chord. This is underneath the octaves, which I'll do in a second, and then up to the F sharp power chord in the 2nd fret. All right, now the actual octaves themselves is this. All right, so that's just the kind of the same. And then 11, 9. Then here, when the chords go up to the F sharp, it goes 9, 11, 11, 13, 13, 14, 13, 11, back down to 2. And then back to the 2. Kind of the same ending as before now. So it's pretty much it's not really a bridge, it's kind of like an extended pre-chorus, but it just has that different little section in there. All right, and then we have, once again, a quick little harmony thing. I think with this one is just, and the other one's just, one of them does, it might be this one where you have to actually do the, you do to repeat that. So that might be the third one there that does that. So it's just basically a simple, pretty close to all the other harmony sections there without the little bend that we did the first time through it. All right, and then we're back to the chorus again. Same chorus as before, and we're finally at the end of the track here. And we have this ending, which kind of on this C sharp. All right, so that's kind of chugging on that C sharp power chord. And then that same little, which is that playing the 4 on the D and the G, and then into that D power chord. And then this is kind of a new riff. So we have that 4, 2, 4, 4, 2, 4, 2. All right, so that's pretty much the end of the track. Now, there's a lot of layering going on there at the very end. I think there's some kind of really low in the mix. There's some other guitar layers in there. I'm not gonna really worry about trying to get them exactly, just so low in the mix. It really is this. So you can have another guitarist if you want to kind of do that thing with kind of the unison bends here at the 9th fret on the B and the 11th on the G. But it's really hard to hear what he's doing there. It's better just kind of do the riff all together. Kind of closes out the track really well. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth breakdown of this Queensryche classic. I love the song. I love many of their tracks, and I haven't really done enough of them on the channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.